Welcome to Life and DNA with Amanda Renee. I'm so glad you joined me today. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to Life and DNA with Amanda Renee. I'm Amanda. Thanks for joining me. If you're watching on YouTube, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. And if you're listening on a podcast, please scroll down to the bottom and rate my podcast for me. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Today I was going to kind of continue and probably wrap up, hopefully, on the whole narcissism discussion and how I am trying to come out of all of that. And I may have to do a follow-up once I finish. I don't think I showed you the other book. I mentioned it last time, but I didn't show you. But Healing Your Lost Inner Child by Robert Jackman. I have not gotten very far in it, as you can see. And so when I get a little further in or completely done with it, I may do another podcast or two on that. But I'm going to try and take my time with that one. This one is supposed to... you're supposed to do a lot of note taking, and he has like little assignments for you to really help you to heal from all of this. And I know last time I've been talking about the human magnet syndrome and what I learned in that book. It was just really helpful to kind of, validate what I already knew and let me know that there is hope for getting out of this, and just letting me know kind of that I'm not crazy, that this really does, happen. It really did happen. It's really affected me the way I feel that it affected me. And so, yeah, I just want to kind of go through some of the main things I struggle with. I think because as a kid, I had to come up with coping mechanisms to deal with, to explain and how to kind of just handle what I was dealing with that I didn't realize I was dealing with, if that makes sense. Growing up in a house with a narcissistic mother, of course, up until a few years ago, I didn't even realize that's what she was, and I didn't know how to put a name to it. And so, I just knew I was a worried, scared, very sensitive, rule follower to the extreme, and little kid. I had a stomach ache all the time, feel guilty all the time, and so now I can step back and see why I was all of those things, and that isn't really me, and I don't have to stay in that. I can walk out of that. And I've also been listening to, because as a Christian, I want to know that I'm coming at this in a biblical way, and neither of the authors of these books, at least they don't say they're Christian. A lot of stuff they talk about doesn't sound like they're coming from a Christian perspective. I do appreciate the things that I've read so far and the work that they do, but I've been listening to a lady on YouTube, Chris Reese, I believe is her name, and she is coming from a Christian perspective, and that's really helped me too, because I want to handle this in the way that God would want me to. And even she was saying a lot of times Christians will gaslight themselves because they've had certain scriptures just so twisted that they'll use it against themselves. Like, bearing one another's burdens and putting others first. And she says, yes, we are to do all those things, but God would never want us to enable toxic people in our lives. That is just enabling evil. And that really helped me because those were two Christian principles that I always kind of struggled with in telling people no or setting boundaries with people in my life. And so that's really helped me. So I've just been like, when I put my makeup on or drink my coffee in the morning, put on a video like that and kind of listen. So I wanted to kind of go through some of the things. I listed them off last time. The patterns and characteristics of, it says codependence. I hate that term. But I guess that's what I would fall under. I just really hate that term. I don't feel like I'm dependent on someone, but I guess as a kid, I definitely would have been dependent on my mother. One of the first ones I identified with was I minimize, alter, or deny how I truly feel. Yes, and I have always been very good at that. I try to do a little better now, just getting older and realizing, I should be heard too. My feelings matter in situations. What I want in life matters as well as what other people in my life want. But I do still tend to fall in this. It is something I definitely want to work on. I don't want to go the opposite extreme either, and be pushy and shove my agenda on everyone else. And, but I do think that I can try to find balance in life with, how I feel and the things I desire, and also honor other people's feelings and what they desire. But as a child, I always had to just kind of bury down anything that I was feeling or that I preferred or wanted, because it just didn't go against the grain or make waves, and then you would be labeled selfish or something. I definitely relate to something at the beginning of the book where he was talking about repressed memories. It's one of the things I'm hoping that the Healing Your Lost Inner Child will help me to remember things. I used to think I had a really great memory of my childhood, and I don't anymore. And I don't know if that's just because my mind can't make sense of anything, so it's just repressing things, or possibly just Hashimoto's and the memory loss that I have with that. I don't know, but I am trying to remember things so that I can figure out why I do the things I do, and that can help me walk out of it. So I have difficulty making decisions. Yes. And I do have little memories of this one. My mom would always second guess my decisions. Always. I have many memories of that happening. And I guess when you're a kid and you just have that questioned constantly, then you just start to doubt yourself. To the point where when I was younger, I would just be like, just tell me what you want me to do. I'll do it and move forward. Like, I don't even have a preference here. Just let me do what you want me to do so I can move on and life can be okay. Um, but any decision that would come up and she would ask me, you know, what do you think about this situation? Or what are you wanting to do in this situation? And then when I would say what I thought, she would second guess that or question it and make me question and doubt myself. And so to this day, I have a very hard time making decisions. I judge everything I think, say, or do harshly as never good enough. Yes, everything. And I do understand that part of that is my personality. My kids kind of, or my daughter at least, came out of the womb like that. So it's possible that I just came out of the womb like that. A perfectionist. But I always tried to make sure she knew that's, you know, you don't have to be perfect in that, and it's okay if you mess up. And while my mom may have done that sometimes, you know, in other areas I was kind of critiqued and held at a different standard. I'm embarrassed to receive recognition, praise, or gifts. Yes. But I think that's fairly common. I do not ask others to meet my needs or desires. Yeah, I won't ask for help. I do think that because as a kid, you just didn't ask my mom to do anything or for anything extra. I remember we would have to get my one sister to go even ask her to do anything out of the ordinary or go somewhere out of the ordinary because all of us were terrified to ask her. I value others' approval of my thinking, feelings, and behavior over my own. Yes, I mean, as I get older, I'm coming out of that a little bit, but yes, if someone says something of me, I will take it to heart, unless it's something totally left field and I absolutely know that that isn't true. I compromise my own values and integrity to avoid rejection or anger from others. I touched on this a little bit last time, but yes, unless it's something, you know, I definitely know is wrong, or illegal or anything like that, I won't compromise there. But if it's like a little gray area, will I try to avoid rejection or making someone angry? Yes. Now, I am getting better at this. I have recognized for a while that I do this, and I don't like that. That may have served me when I was a child, but it's not going to get me anywhere as an adult. It's not going to, in the long run, help my relationships. So I am trying to do better about that. I'm very sensitive to how others are feeling and feel the same. I don't know if I necessarily feel the same, but I'm very, very sensitive to how others are feeling, and it will affect my mood. And this is one I am actively working on at the moment, because I hate this. I can be in a good mood or just a normal mood, and someone else's mood shifts, even if they don't say that they're angry about something, just a look, the tone in their voice, an attitude, and now I've picked up on it, and now I have to worry about, is this something I did? Is this something I have to make better? Do I have to, figure out what's going on with this person? And it just makes me crazy because, like I said, I'm trying to learn that I am not responsible for other people's behavior or their feelings. It is not my job to make absolutely every person I come in contact with in a good mood or not upset about something. So I am actively working on that. I'm extremely loyal, remaining in harmful situations too long. I tend to do that. I value others' opinions and feelings more than my own, and am afraid to express differing opinions and feelings of my own. Yes. And again, was worse about this when I was younger than I am now. But especially if it's somebody either that I look up to or is in a place of authority over me, or a person that I know is easily upset, those are the people I tend to just kind of like smile and nod and go along with whatever they say rather than countering them. Typically because again, with the being indecisive and not being very sure of myself, I might be able to state my opinion, but in the heat of the moment, not necessarily be heated, but in the just right off the top of my head, trying to defend my position, I might not be able to. Now, if you asked me to write a letter or a report about why I feel the way I feel, I could sit down and think about that and do that. But in the split second of someone confronting me, my brain will shut down and go to and just be scared. If I'm confronted and am not prepared for it, then my brain tends to just, so I freeze. And I guess that in itself is kind of a trauma response. From when I would get in trouble as a kid, because I would just hate it and I would freeze, and I can't think of anything except for how to make this stop and make it go away and for everything to be okay again. I put aside my own interests and hobbies to do what others want. Yes. I am, again, doing better about this. I got to go to a book club last weekend, which was so fun. I've always wanted to be part of one, which is why I made the online book club and the Patreon. But I've always wanted to actually have a book club to go to. And so I am carving out, it's only like an hour and a half a month that I get to be around these people. But I am doing that for myself, and I'm proud of myself for that and thankful. Let's see. I attempt to convince others of what they should think and how they truly feel. Yes, and like he said in the book, it's kind of a way of trying to control, not in a bad or manipulative way, but just like trying to make sure that the people I love are doing what I believe is the right thing. I don't know if that makes sense. It does when I try to do it. But again, I have to realize I am not the Holy Spirit, and I am not responsible for that person's feelings and their thoughts. And so, like, even as far as my kids go, trying to guide them in the right direction and let them know what is right and what is wrong. I still can't control, of course, how they think and how they feel. I freely offer others advice and directions without being asked. Sometimes, I'm not always bad about that. It depends on the person, but I have caught myself doing that quite a bit. I judge harshly what others think, say, or do. Yes, because I judge myself even harsher, but I do tend to do that. I have gotten out of that a lot. I was very, very bad about that as a child and a teenager. I remember in my 20s getting a hold of a Bible study by Lisa Bevere, I think, and it was about having a self-righteous spirit and how much God hated that, and I was so convicted. And ever since then, I do still struggle a little bit with this, but nowhere, not as much. I have messed up myself too, and recognize that, and I have my own things I struggle with and deal with, and so I am much better at, you know, not being judgmental. Now, at the same time that I used to judge them, I wouldn't necessarily tell them that. Like, I was still too non-confrontational to actually tell someone that I was judging them for what they were doing or saying. So, yeah, but thankfully I am a little better at that. I avoid emotional or physical intimacy as a means of maintaining distance. Yes, if I am hurt, of course, walls go up. I will just withdraw into myself because that's just kind of what I've always done. And, yeah, definitely will do that. I use indirect and evasive communication to avoid conflict or confrontation. Always, because I don't want to have confrontation. I don't want to make someone mad. I very rarely will start a fight unless it's something I absolutely know is super important. I will not start the confront. I won't confront someone unless it's just really, really important. So yeah, I will try to come at it from a different angle or just ask a question and hope that gets the ball rolling. Because I don't want to have to deal with conflict. I suppress my feelings or needs to avoid feeling vulnerable. Yes. If I can't handle it myself, then I just figure I don't need it, or will talk myself out of needing it, because it's not worth putting myself out there and then, someone getting angry at my feelings or reject me because of my feelings. So yeah, I just won't share them. I believe displays of emotion are a sign of weakness. Yes, and I hate that my eyes water constantly. I know it looks like I'm crying all the time. Part of my autoimmune is that my eyes water a lot. Part of my response that my body has always done, even it doesn't matter what extreme emotion I'm having, tears will come out of my eyes. I can be very, very angry, not sad or upset, but very, very angry, and I will start crying, and it's so annoying because it makes people think either I'm an emotional wreck, which I'm not. It's a response I can't control. Trust me, I have tried. Or they think I'm doing that to, play on their emotions or something. Again, it's not. I cannot control it. It's just a physical response that happens. I remember one time, my husband's grandfather was in the hospital before he passed, and I was having to deal with this horrible ER doctor, and I was furious. But I know he just thought I was some emotional woman because, again, my eyes, I was crying, but I was just shaking. I was furious. But I think that goes back to I don't like confrontation, and I was having to confront him because I was the only one there. And even now I will get worked up, but it's just a response I can't help, and I hate it because yes, I do see. I hate when women cry to get their way. I just hate that. I won't do that. If I'm crying, it's either I'm genuinely upset or angry and I can't help it. Self-worth, self-esteem depends on being needed and having few needs. Um, yes and no. I don't necessarily know about the being needed. I mean, we all like to be needed. I'm a wife and a mother, so I'm always needed. But having few needs, yes. Um, if I, like the other day, I was sick and had to ask my kids to do several things for me because I was sick and couldn't do them myself. And then asked my husband to pick me up something because I couldn't leave the house myself. And I don't like having to do that. I feel like a burden on people, even though I will gladly take care of them. I don't like that feeling. Excessively complies with suggestions, requests, or inappropriate orders. I had highlighted that one. Excessively complies. Probably because, again, I won't confront the person and tell them I don't really want to do that, or I don't particularly agree with that, or I don't like that. Rather than hurt their feelings, I will just go along and do it. And I don't like or respect that about myself. I really actually hate it. Preoccupied with the problems, struggles, and needs of others while neglecting their own. Yes, of course, sometimes that comes along with being a mom. In an attempt to be everything to everybody, loses ability to take care of their own needs. I have had, again, times in my life where I've done that. I am doing better about that. Again, having Hashimoto's has kind of pushed me to have to do that. Interesting side note, I have read, if I can find where it was, I'll put it in the notes, but I have read and heard on multiple occasions that a lot of times people that have grown up in that situation or have had a narcissist be a major part of their life do come down with autoimmune conditions, and probably from a lot of the stress. So I thought that was very interesting that, you know, I had discovered I had Hashimoto's, and then a few years later discovered I grew up with a narcissist. And one of the really, really toxic, well, I guess they're all toxic, but covert narcissists are just, they're harder to spot. Champions and avidly supports the needs, goals, and dreams of others while ignoring or devaluing their own. Yes, I've always done that, still do that. Adept at solving the problems of others while not being able or motivated to solve their own. Again, a lot of that I think goes back to being indecisive. So I don't know what to do because I am terrified of making a wrong choice. I'm terrified of messing up. I'm terrified of disappointing God and others. And so I will just do nothing because I'm scared of doing the wrong thing. But I can objectively look at other people's situations and give them advice on what to do. Perpetually seeks to please people, always looking to help or lend a hand. Yes, that has become harder with having less and less energy, but yes, always want people to be happy with me. Struggles at declining a request for help, may feel guilty or needy. Yes, oh gosh, if someone asks me to do something, it is very hard for me to say no, and when I do say no, I will feel very, very, very guilty. And the rest of these, some of these were just, it does not set firm boundaries or consequences when mistreated or abused. Yes, and I don't know how. And that is what I'm really, really, really hoping to figure out. I will, if someone has said something mean to me or been disrespectful to me, I will call them on it, depending on who they are. I will call them on it and say something. But as far as setting boundaries so that it doesn't happen again, I do not know how to do that. I don't have that skill. I wasn't taught that, and I am trying to figure that out, because I am learning that I deserve respect too. I deserve love too, and so I am trying to learn how to put those boundaries in place so that I don't get disrespected and mistreated. And sometimes that's even by my own children. Like, I need to learn how to just set firm boundaries with people. But I just wanted to hop on here and kind of go over some of the things, that the main things I'm working on are, like I said, learning to set boundaries with people, sticking up for myself more as far as this is not okay and I am not going to tolerate this, or this anymore. Whether I say it or not, as far as just not letting people treat me like that. I am trying to discover even who I am. One of the things that was in Healing Your Lost Inner Child that I resonated with, he talks about authenticity, and that it's one of the goals of the heal process. It says, refers to the core of who we are. Your authentic self has never abandoned you, but you may have buried it with illusions that you created, or ideas that were projected onto you, such as being unworthy. We often carry illusions that were put on us by others. These illusions smother the authentic self, burying it under heavy blankets of deception and untruths. When you connect with your authentic self, life will be much easier, because all you have to do is show up and be yourself. And that is my absolute main goal, because I do know my identity was totally robbed from me, erased, put over with what my mom wanted me to be, what I thought she wanted me to be, growing up. And I've always struggled with that. People, like at our church, the slogan of our church is genuine and current, and I've always very much struggled with the genuine as far as knowing who I actually am. And so that is my main goal, is to figure out who I am and walk in that and be that, and not let anyone take that from me ever again. So that is kind of the main thing I'm working on. Just that, and recognizing that when I'm allowing someone else's mood or tone or a shift in their aura, I don't know what to say, aura and sound new agey, but just a shift in them, and not letting it affect me, not letting me have to think that that's something I have to deal with or fix or even worry about. And I am trying very hard to recognize that, give it over to God, and just deal with my lane and what I have to deal with and my part in things, and just stick with that. And so I am working on that. And thank you for joining me on that journey. I am not 100% sure what I'll talk about next week, but it might be on more of the DNA side, because that is, I'm getting the itch again to do some more research. And so I'm hoping to get to kind of do that in the evenings next week. And so that may be what I'm talking about next week. But if you are interested in more of the narcissist side of it, or you have any questions or comments, maybe you're in the middle of a narcissistic relationship, leave me a comment and let me know how you're handling it, how you've dealt with it. If you've already healed from this, any advice is welcome. And if you're struggling and you just want to say, hey, I'm right there with you, then just comment and leave that for me. I'd appreciate it. I will see you next week, and I'll talk to you later. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.